Hi, welcome. It is May 1st, and we begin a new month. And today, in our readings, if you've been following along, you'll notice that we have two accounts, one Psalm 18 and one in 2 Samuel, that are almost identical. And basically, it is a song of praise and thanksgiving to God, written by David upon the continued protection and power of God in his life. And what's interesting here, a couple of things. First of all, kind of focusing a little on Psalm 18, but Psalm 18 is considered one of the royal psalms. There are 10 of them, actually, in case you want to look them up: 2, 18, 20, 21, 45, 72, 101, 110, 132, and 144, kind of spread out all across the Psalms. And the only thing that really makes them unique is that they discuss the king and his spiritual worship of Yahweh, of God. And there are probably some other psalms that don't specifically address the king, but nonetheless refer to the same subject. But these are considered the 10 official ones. And again, what's interesting here is they give us a picture not just of David and his kingdom, but there's this reference and this perspective that is larger than that, that really speaks of God's kingdom as a whole and of his son Jesus Christ as the king. To help us understand that a little better, I wanted to kind of first just mention that when we say the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, there's a correlation here. When we say thy kingdom come, we're actually praying that we might be godly and active in our worship of God as members of his kingdom of grace in the world today. I think we also pray that others might come to be a part of that kingdom of grace as his kingdom is extended in the world. And then the third thing we pray is that God might hasten the coming of his kingdom of glory ultimately, when he will reign forever on in the new earth, the new heaven and the new earth. And we pray that in the Lord's Prayer. And in a sense, here David offers some of those same kind of thoughts in his prayer of thanksgiving. On the one level, certainly thanking for his victories in his own kingship. But as he speaks of his descendants and as he speaks of his kingdom extending forever, and God's kingdom really is what he's saying would extend forever as God provides, he's really speaking, and in a sense, without even knowing it, that Christ's kingdom would come, would extend, and would be present forever. So we have this song, and I think sometimes, of course, lately in our readings, we've kind of forgotten the fact that David is a wonderful poet. Most of what we've been reading about lately has to do with his abilities as a warrior. But nonetheless, he reaches this point and offers this song right now. And except for maybe just a couple of minor differences, 2 Samuel 22 and Psalm 18 are virtually identical. So we have this warrior poet in David, and what he does, again, thinking back to thy kingdom come, David speaks about his kingdom through God's power and how it has been God who has sustained him and brought him to this point. He also speaks and prays in terms of and sings about God extending that kingdom, bringing more under that umbrella of kingship. And finally, David prays at the end of it for the continuation of that kingdom. The duration of it would last forever through his descendants, ultimately Jesus. And so there are a number of parts, and you could break up the 2 Samuel passage any way you want, the Psalm passage, but as I'm looking at it, there's a section that deals, David sings about God as his deliverer. There's a section of praise next where God is almighty. And David, again, while he's talking specifically in terms of just him and God's dealings with him, he then he then grows his view to a point where he's really speaking about God as the one and only, as the almighty creator and sustainer of everything. And he again draws attention to the fact that God continues to rescue him. And finally, he prays that God's kingdom will prevail, and that we get that picture much like Jesus telling the disciples that not even the gates of hell will prevail against my church. And David is saying, your kingdom will prevail. It will roll back the darkness. And that really brings me to my prayer for today as I think about that. Number one, do I really thank God enough for his power and presence in my life, for making me a part of his kingdom of grace now, and ultimately of his kingdom of glory when he comes again? And do I take an active enough role in being a part of that kingdom and the work of those who are in that kingdom, of seeking to roll back the darkness, to bring the light of Christ and his love to bear in the world? And so we can sing the same song with David today. And so kind of decided I'm going to read it several times over the day, and let the words sink in, and celebrate God's goodness, his grace, his mercy, his love, his power, and his future that he is bringing to bear in my life and in the lives of all as we look forward to his coming again. And so we can pray today, truly, thy kingdom come. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.